So is this the beginning of the end of high inflation? Maybe not, according to the National Australia Bank. On that, but also on China's stimulus to its own economy, let's bring in Ivan Colhoun, Chief Economist for the National Australia Bank's Corporate and Institutional Banking Divisions. Ivan, always good to have you on the program. The NAB today says, maybe inflation's still got another leg to go. Why is that?
Look, what we were actually saying is we thought it would be lower than people expected today. It was. What we're saying is probably don't get too carried away with that really good improvement this month. In the first month of the monthly indicator, they measure lots of goods, and goods prices are correcting some of the big rises we saw through COVID. So it's heavily weighted to goods. That produced a good outcome for the overall CPI indicator this month. Next month, there's a lot more services in the indicator, in the basket they measure in August, and petrol prices are up very sharply as well. So just saying the trend's probably not quite as good as it looks, but it's still favourable.
Okay, so favourable, but the issue, as you point out, there's the services economy where there's evidence of price increases. There's electricity prices and gas prices that continue to rise and will keep on rising. And as you point out, oil prices went back up and so did petrol prices during that period. So, it's just a bit too early maybe to say that this is the end of the inflation and that maybe the Reserve Bank can sit on its hands for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I think it certainly will be likely to be sitting on its hands when it meets in early August, early September next week. But yeah, so we've still got another rate hike in there. We're concerned that it's not quite improving just as quickly as the RBA expected. So maybe it will get a bit nervous because remember, it's set itself effectively an end date. It has to get inflation back to 3% by the middle of 2025. That's what they're trying to deliver. Their latest set of forecasts said they were on track for that. Today's monthly indicator won't knock them off that forecast, but maybe the services price readings in August and the full Q3 CPI might see them just a little bit more uncertain about that prediction. But, I mean, we're talking, moderate differences in view here, not huge differences in view.
Okay, so take me to the view that the Reserve Bank is still trying to, cool consumer demand and really contract the economy to a certain extent, while you've got China, on the other hand, now trying to stimulate its economy by cutting mortgage rates and actually trying to pump up its economy. How does that affect Australia here?
Yeah, well, I think, like we talked about, there's the services inflation in Australia, there's the goods price corrections or price falls. China is, of course, a major manufacturer for the world. And I think what it's seeing in particular is this global downturn in manufacturing and goods, some part of that because those types of products are very interest sensitive, some part of it because we all bought so many goods during the first 2 years of COVID when we couldn't travel and we couldn't eat out as much. So it's suffering or having that global downturn in goods that's affecting its economy. It doesn't have the same price pressures that we have. So its central bank has been cutting interest rates. Markets around the world have been waiting for China to do more measures to stimulate its economy. We know that their unemployment rate has been moving up. Of course, they've stopped publishing their youth unemployment rate. That would tell you that it's very, very high. So it needs to do some things to stimulate its economy. But the biggest thing it needs is obviously the global manufacturing cycle to turn back up. So it probably needs lower interest rates in the rest of the world is also very important.
I'll tell you what, Ivan Colhoun, the Chief Economist for the Institutional and Corporate Bank at the NAB, many thanks for your time today.